Mike Radich here, and I'm now joined on the phone by King of the Cage, middleweight champion, Daniel Madrid. Daniel, how are you?
I'm doing good. Mike, how you doing today?
I'm doing good. Thanks for asking. Daniel, you got a fight coming up March 5th at King of the Cage, Night of Champions. How's training been going for the fight?
It's been a solid 8-week camp. It's never, like I always tell all my friends and family, like, the fight's the easy part, it's the fight camp that sucks. Like, the day in and day out of getting beat up and then having to miraculously turn around and get healed up is, it's an interesting concept. But yeah, this fight camp has been really solid. I haven't had any injuries. It's just been constantly improving on technique and what we're going to do for this fight, so I'm really excited.
You're fighting Daniel Hernandez, the man who you took the King of the Cage middleweight belt from. Exactly why are you fighting him again? Because the first fight, there was no controversy. You finished the fight in the first round at 1 minute and 30 seconds. You finished him by TKO due to strikes. Why is there a need for an immediate rematch? There was no controversy. He wasn't robbed. There was no judges that didn't get it right. So why are we doing an immediate rematch?
You know what? That is a great question. One that I never got an answer to. But you know what? It's not my job to make the fight. That's really about it, man. They said, this is who you got to fight, and I said, okay. I'm just there to fight and show why I'm supposed to be the title holder. So I'm looking forward to another great fight, and hopefully it goes a little bit longer this time. But if it doesn't, I'm not going to be there to complain about it either.
You seem disappointed by the matchup.
No, not at all. To me, a fight's a fight. Like if it's against the same guy, like they feel like they need to give him a rematch for whatever reason they chose, or if they have a new up-and-comer who's the number one contender that wants to challenge himself with me, then, so be it. And it's a fight to fight. It's never going to be easy, and what I mean by that is I know Daniel's gotten better. I'm assuming he's probably watched the tape and realized what he can and can't do against me. And, I look forward to seeing the improvements and having another great fight.
What are your thoughts about Daniel Hernandez as an opponent?
I think he's a very strong athlete. I don't think he's the most technical. I do believe he has relied on his strength and his overall aggressiveness most of his career, which has gotten him pretty far, so I can't say that it's wrong to do so. But now he found someone that's just as strong, more technical, has been doing certain martial arts longer than he has, so it's definitely a challenge for him, and I'm looking forward to seeing the challenges that he's going to bring forward to me. So,
were you pleased with your performance in the first fight against Daniel Hernandez? What was your assessment of that first fight back in October?
To be honest, the very first part of it was kind of a blank to me. I couldn't remember it on my own because it did happen really fast. But going back and watching the tape, I was actually kind of disappointed in myself just because I went out there with a lazy left kick. My jabs were working effective. I hadn't even placed it on him yet, but they were keeping him at distance where I wanted him. And then I threw that lazy left kick, which just gave him the opportunity to take me down, and I just didn't react fast enough. But again, going to the ground is not my concern. I don't mind it. It's my number one go-to. It's my home. I've been doing jiu-jitsu for over 15 years now. I'm not threatened on the ground at all. So, when it happened, I was quick to be composed. I saw where he was positioned. I utilized what part of the cage I was on. And once I saw him fall for the heel hook, I instantly knew he didn't have it. He wasn't applying it right. He didn't have his position right. And I knew if I was just patient and I took my time, I was going to get out of it and come out. And when that did happen, I came into a very favorable position. I sprung up faster than he did, pinned him to a mount position. He turned his back. I took his back. And, of course, the grappler in me, the first thing that goes through my head is, let's secure the position and go for the choke. But I saw the opportunity to get some good strikes in. And I know I hit him. There was a couple punches where I threw a right hand under his arm, and I caught him flush with my forearm, and I felt his body drop. and that's when you saw the onslaught of punches come, and that's when I think it was like 10 or 12 punches later, Jason Herzog actually stepped in and stopped it.
You're a very difficult matchup for him, it seems like, because, like you mentioned, your bread and butter is your ground game, and he's someone who, his bread and butter is he likes to be on the ground, but he likes to be on top. You're pretty good from all positions, whether you're in the guard or on top. You seem to be very, very dangerous regardless of where you are on the floor. So it seems like you're a very difficult style, because what he does, you just do a little bit better. You know, you're better at striking. Wrestling's about even, I would say, but on the ground, you're a lot better than he is. So did anything about the first fight surprise you at all?
You know what? Actually, it did. Watching some of the older footage, he does come out aggressive, but it's not as quick as it was in my fight. You know, we expected him to. I was expecting to see a little bit more hands from him. So the quick shot did catch me off guard, but it wasn't. Again, we knew he was going to try to shoot and take me down. And then if I beat him to the sprawl, we were just going to keep him on the feet and then just tear him apart that way. Or you know, if it went to the ground, then it's just like it's like you said, it's like putting a cow inside of the ocean and watching a shark swim around it. It's eventually just going to get eaten.
How many times have you gone back and watched the first fight?
You know, we went back. I only watch it with my coaches. I don't really like to do it on my own. I'm way too overcritical of myself. So I let my coaches review it, and then I'll watch it with them once or twice, and then I'm usually done with it. You know, they'll go back and they'll be like, all right, you know, we need to change this about that, or you know, we're gonna alter this a little bit different. So I mean, I have some really good stand-up coaches. My ground coaches are black belts and browns, you know, and even my purple belts are very technical, and they'll watch it and they'll be like, hey, you know, watch out for this, or just like all my belts are very precise with what I need to do. So there's really no need for me to watch it all.
You guys are both on, I guess you could say, equal ground, because from the fighting side of things, he has the advantage because he lost the last fight. I know you just said that there were some things in the fight that you weren't pleased with, but at the end of the day, you were the guy who got his hand raised, and you're the guy who's now holding the belt. So on the fighting side of things, Daniel Hernandez has the advantage, but on the psychological side of things, you have the advantage because you know that you can beat him, and he knows that he can be beaten by you. So you guys are on equal ground. Is that a fair statement? Do you agree that going into this fight, no one really has a leg up on the other guy?
Oh, I completely agree with you on that. I don't think there's more pressure on one fighter than the other. You know, I have the pressure of just not knowing, but showing the people that you know, that belt's mine, and I need to put like a dominant performance on to showcase to the audience, to the fans, to my family, and then to other fighters that want to come up and try to take it from me. That, you know, I'm here to stay. Like I'm the real deal. For him, it's more so he's got to prove to everyone that, you know, this wasn't a fluke, that he was just on an off day, and he's going to come back and try to take it from me. So
this is probably going to be a tough question because I'm asking you to get in the mind of your opponent, but what do you think his camp is telling him to do against you in this fight?
You know, that's a funny question, because I asked myself that same question in the very first fight that we had, and it was completely wrong of what I thought. So if I had to assume, I mean, if I was in his corner, I mean, I would think he would need to try to out-wrestle me, stay heavy on the top. I mean, but like we talked about earlier, I just don't know how much that's going to help him. I just don't believe his jiu-jitsu or his coaches are anywhere near what I have. And you know, so I'm curious. I would be surprised to see him stand with me, but I hope he does. I would love a stand-up battle. But anywhere we go in that cage, I'm going to be very comfortable, and I'm really excited to see what he's going to try to come with me or try to bring at me.
Who's going to be cornering you for the fight?
I'm going to be having 4 cornermen. My main 2 coaches are Sandro LaPara, which is my striking coach, and then my wrestling and jiu-jitsu coach, which is Travis Azevedo. And then I'll have my other 2 cornermen, which is a really good friend of mine, and also striking coach Mario Velez. And then my boxing coach, which is Coach Chad Doctor.
Is this fight the main event on this card? Because on March 5th, there's going to be 4 title fights, and I've seen multiple posters, so I have no idea what's going to be the main event. Is this the main event?
I wish I had an answer for you, but it's the same thing. Like one time I think we are, and then I see 5 other posters with 5 other people on there, and I'm just like, shit, okay. You know, but
right.
To me, it doesn't matter. Wherever I fight, as long as I get to fight, I guess. That's all I really care about.
Okay. They're really keeping you in the dark over there.
Yeah, they haven't released the itinerary yet, so I'm just waiting for that to get done, and then. But yeah, I mean, it's been really weird. This whole, like, when we got told we were going to fight Daniel again, we didn't really understand that, but again, we didn't really care. And then when they started doing like the promos for it, like the first commercial they dropped was like on Facebook, I believe. Mm-hmm. And they had all the champions, you know, they're talking about Jesse Suarez and some other guys, and then they pop up Daniel Hernandez, and I'm not even mentioned in this thing.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And we were laughing about it because we were like, man, like, what do you got to do? You know, you beat the champion, you have this belt, and you still can't get notary from it.
Yeah, I agree. I saw that promo. And also on the poster, it says Hernandez versus Madrid 2. Usually, the champion is always supposed to be the first guy, and the guy who, whether it's for a title or not, the guy who won the first fight is supposed to be the first guy, and you're the second guy still. What's up with that?
Yeah, like I said, there's a lot of questions on here, but I mean, right now, for my mentality, it's not going to do me any good to try to throw a fuss about it. And the fight's going to be the fight, regardless of where my name is on the poster, if my face is on the poster. They could put a picture of him on with the belt still on for all I care, because really the belt's sitting right next to me. So it's mine. It's going to be mine still, regardless. But after this fight, and when I take the belt back home, you know, we'll be having talks with them. Make sure we get things straight next time.
I don't know much, but what I do know is someone named Daniel is going to win this fight. So how do you make sure that the one with the last name Madrid is the one who gets his hand raised on March 5th?
You know, I go in there and I do what I do. And it's like Ryan Hall said on The Ultimate Fighter. It's probably one of the best quotes I've ever heard. You know, it's people don't think it do what it do, but it does. It's that simple. It's not. You don't overcomplicate it. You don't go in there with a serious game plan, because game plans fail every time you get hit. You know, you go in there and you worry about yourself. You know, you improve on yourself. I can't do anything that's going to stop Daniel from doing what he's going to do. So I'm going to improve on what I do best, and I'm going to make sure that when fight time comes, that every punch I throw, every kick I throw is going to be like I'm trying to take off limbs or I'm trying to damage organs. And if it goes to the ground and it comes to submissions, and you bet your ass, man, once it's on, it's going to be locked on. And pray to God, man, you can get out of it. Otherwise, you're fucked. So,
Daniel, we'll end on this. It's a little segment I like to call Really Random. That's where I ask you a random question and you give me the real answer. Some of these questions are custom made just for you, and some of these questions are generic ones that I ask all the people I interview. So, here's the first question. Superpower you'd love to have?
Oh, good one. Superpower I would love to have, it would have to be the Flash. It'd have to be speed. Being able to run anywhere as fast as I can, anywhere I go.
Favorite movie?
Favorite movie as of right now would have to be Deadpool.
Movie you've seen the most times?
Ace Ventura, Pet Detective, When Nature Calls.
Favorite color?
Oh, blue.
Favorite guilty pleasure?
It'd be being a gluttonous piece of shit after fights.
Go-to song when you're singing in the shower?
It'd be I'm Your Puppet by, James something. It's a 60s song.
Celebrity people say you look like?
I get 2 of them. I get Ross from Friends, and then I get the lead singer from Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Your first 2 pro fights took place under the King of the Cage banner, but you didn't make your return to King of the Cage until 2014, so you had an 8-year gap in between fights with King of the Cage. I'm interested in knowing why. Why had it been so long since you fought for King of the Cage? Why were you not brought back in 8 years?
It was when I took those two first pro fights, I was in my hometown of Grove, and I was training, and we had a small school down there. And then when I moved down to the Valley, I started training with Edwin Deweese and Joe Riggs when they opened up a school over here on the North Phoenix side. And at the time, from what they had told me and from what I had talked to with my other friends, my best option for getting to the bigger show was fighting in a local event called Rage in the Cage. So I started fighting with them, and then I think it was in 2007 or 8, I believe. That's when I had my head injury, and I had to take a year off. And then after that, I just wherever I can to get back into it. It's whoever's going to give me the best shot of going to the next level. Because I have fought some of the biggest names in MMA. My biggest to date so far is Daichiro Matsui. He was a Pride veteran. He's fought the best of the best. No one's put him down, even when in Pride. And I was the first person to choke him unconscious in a 15-minute fight. So it's just I'm looking for that opportunity to say, like, here I am, world. I've been this hidden gem for so long. I just need the stage and the platform to do it on.
Why haven't you been that active over the course of your MMA career? Because right now you're averaging anywhere from 1 to 2 fights in a year. 2006, you fought twice. 2007, you fought once. 2009, you fought once. 2012, you fought once. 2014, you fought once. The only year in your MMA career since turning pro that you fought more than twice in a single year is the first year you were professional back in 2006. Since then, you've only fought once or twice in a single year. So I'm interested in knowing why. Why haven't you fought more than once or twice in a single year? Why haven't you been that active?
A lot of it comes down to life. Just trying to pay bills, work. I was trying to go back to school at some of those times, and I wasn't able to focus on my MMA. And then I think in 2010, I started taking my gi game and jiu-jitsu a little bit more serious because I wanted to work towards my black. And it's just been a lot of it's been a really rough road. I never wanted the easy road. I never wanted to pair with someone who had already made it, and I didn't want to write off their success. If I was to make it, I wanted to make it on my own. I want to be able to look back on my career and say, with my hard work, my original team that I stayed with, the dedication, the blood, the sweat, the tears, and the respect that I've earned along the way, that was me. I wasn't given a short notice fight just because of the school that I'm with.
After the fight back in October, when you won the King of the Cage middleweight belt, you said that you were planning on dropping down to 170 and going after the welterweight title. Is that still the plan?
Yeah. Yes and no. Depending on what state we're in, yes. Obviously California, that's not going to be a realistic goal for me anymore, just because of the new laws they passed on cutting weight and whatnot. If they want to come back to Arizona, or I believe even Vegas, I could probably do it in. It could be an option, and I would still like to keep that goal very, very alive. I would like to hold 2 belts in an organization, but in California, unfortunately that's not going to happen. So.
Is that the only reason for the move to 170? Is just you want another belt?
No, I enjoy fighting at 170. It's actually I feel bigger, I feel faster. It's a good weight for me. It's a hard weight cut. I won't lie about that, but I do feel like I'm because of my height and just how much weight and size I can put back on. I do feel really good. But unfortunately, it's until I can actually figure out the chemistry of how my body's going to work with the weight cut itself. Right now, it's just not an option. I know any state that has the new law placed with dehydration cut, they'll look at me and just say, nope, you're not going to fight. So
obviously, you have the King of the Cage middleweight belt. Besides that one, do you have any others?
I have a Rage in the Cage middleweight belt, but I believe I held it for 3 or 4 fights, and then I signed with King of the Cage But I think I let that one. I'm pretty sure that one went vacant, and I think they're getting ready to fight for it again for Raging the Cage after they went under new ownership. And then way back early in my career, I think it was like my third pro fight. I have another middleweight belt from Extreme Courage Fighting that was based out of New Mexico. So three titles so far up until this date.
Right now, you're on an absolute tear. You're on a 5-fight win streak. 4 of those 5 wins have come in the first round. 4 of those 5 wins have been by submission, and all 5 of those 5 wins have been stoppages. So right now, you're doing very good. You're looking better than ever, and you're on this 5-fight win streak, and you're the King of the Cage middleweight champion. So what's allowed you to go on this 5-fight win streak?
You know, I had to repurpose myself. After that second loss with M1, I forgot his name. It's a hard name to pronounce, but I really I underestimated him. I let my ego get in front of me, and just going off the height and size of him, I was like, I'm going to destroy this guy. And he almost put me on my ass. He taught me with the rear naked choke, busted my face up pretty good. But I mean, it was really embarrassing. I never thought I would be one of those fighters where I would ever think that I was better than someone. And once that happened, it opened up my eyes, and I needed to refocus myself, and I needed to figure out if my heart was still in this, and if I needed to just do something else. And I sat down, talked with my family, I did a little bit of praying, and I got back into it, and I just got serious. I refocused everything. I mixed up all my training, and it's been working nonstop for me. So I just, it's like the old saying goes, don't fix it. If it's not broken, don't fix it. You know what I mean?
You're fighting out of Grace Fighting Systems. Is that the only gym you train out of?
That is the only place I train out of. We do have an affiliate, we're part of an affiliate program for our jiu-jitsu. So our main headquarters for that is Nava Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu over in East Mesa. I go over there whenever I can just to get some good rolls in with those guys. We have some very legitimate black belts that train over there. Gerson Atwag, Jonathan Van Buren, and then Paul Nava, and then some great brown belts like Gary Hatch and David Barnes. So I get some really good rolls with them too. But for the most part, it's all my training's done at Grace Fighting Systems. Some of my training partners for my jiu-jitsu side, it's Jose Munoz, like Rylan Exlar, Austin Lannis, Mark Goldstein, people like that. So I try to keep everything within my gym. Like I've done the traveling thing where I go and I spar with different schools, and I think it's good to see that kind of aspect. But when it comes to a camp, I think you need to stay loyal. Stay within your school.
Are you an instructor there as well, in addition to your fighting?
Yeah, I am the head jiu-jitsu instructor, and also I teach the kids Muay Thai program as well.
On the jiu-jitsu side of things, are you mostly working with the average Joe, or do you have a lot of amateur and pro guys? For the fight, like for the jiu-jitsu competition, our school is very competitive based, so we have a lot of competitors, very high skilled competitors as well. And then for our fighting, we have mostly amateurs there, a few pros, but I mean even though they're amateurs in the fight game itself, like when we're training together and we're sparring, it's sometimes I get more work. Like I have to worry more about them than the actual fight. So what motivates you in life and in fighting?
My family. I think I don't fight just because I like to fight, and I enjoy the push that it gives me to be competitive at my age. But I mean, if I had to go back and do it again, I don't know if I would take this road in life. Mm-hmm. So I do it for my family. I do it to. I like to make sure that I can put a legacy behind our name, and people can look back and be like, yeah, the Madrids they're a tough family. Mm-hmm. And then I do it for my 2 boys and my girlfriend. They're a really big support base for me. Like there's so many nights I can't even tell you where I don't come home until like 10:30 from training. My boys are already they put up with a lot, and they still support me 110%. So
these two kids, what are their names and how old are they?
Actually, like these two boys, they're more like my stepson. My oldest one is Jonas. He's 8 years old. He's kind of like he's my nerd. He's the one that's always on the video games. He's just like me, always technology. The little one, his name is Leo. He's 6 years old, and he's the daring one. He's like the person I become when I go to fight is who he is on a daily basis. So he's a comic, man. I love that kid, and you can't ever be in a bad mood around him. That's for sure. I have been dating Nora, which is their mother, my girlfriend. I've been dating her for almost 2 years now. We're one of those. We met on a social dating app, and we both never really thought it was going to go anywhere. And then she was probably going to get pissed that I'm going to say this online, but whatever. I always called her the Hitler of relationships because, like 2 months into the relationship, she kind of just moved into my house and took over, and just and ever since then, I've just been on the roller coaster of this relationship crazy story. So, they have a great father, and it's one of those like relationships between her and I, the boys, and then their dad, where it's something you see on TV where it never seems real, like it can't happen. Mm-hmm. But we're all, like, we work really well together. We're all very friendly. We can hang out just as friends, and it's all for the boys. So, and I'm fortunate enough that they can look at me and they'll call me dad, and it's just they're blessed to have so many loved ones in their life. So I'm just lucky to be a part of it.
So there's no competition between you and their real dad. It's not like that movie that just came out recently with Will Ferrell and Mark Wahlberg, Daddy's Home. That movie that just came out. There's no competition here.
No, not at all. It's Carlos, and the father's name is Carlos. Mm-hmm. And he's a very nice guy. He's a complete 180 of me. We have really good senses of humor, so that's why he and I get along really well. But yeah, no, it's like I don't try to take his spot. I know he's the dad, and the kids know that. I told the kids, I'm just here to be whoever you need me to be. If you want me to be a friend, I'm your friend. You want me to be a dad, I'm your dad. And they take into that really well. So
hobbies outside of fighting.
Watching movies and playing video games. Anytime I get the chance to stay home and play with my dogs or just be a lazy bum, man, that's what I'm doing.
Favorite food?
Yeah, it's gonna have to be Italian. Anything to do with like spaghetti or lasagna.
Least favorite food?
Oh man, Indian food.
Favorite restaurant?
I would say Chili's, I guess. I don't know.
If you could stay one age forever, how old would you stay and why?
Oh man, I think if I could stay one age, I think it'd be about 16. The ability to still be a kid, but still have some of the privileges of an adult to drive around and stuff.
If you could trade places with anyone in the world for a week, who would you trade places with and why?
I would trade places with my son Leo, and the reason is there's not a moment that goes by where that boy cannot smile. He has his fits, don't get me wrong, but everything in life he does, it's smile or he's joking or he's laughing. It's hard. Like I rarely ever see him see the bad in things. So I would like to. That's what I would like to experience again.
Favorite social media platform?
Instagram. It's the easiest. I don't have to really talk to people that much. Just post pictures and leave it there.
Website you visit most often?
MMA Underground.
Piece of technology you can't live without?
Oh, my phone.
If you could go on a $1 million shopping spree at any store, what store would you go on that $1 million shopping spree at?
Oh, that's a good one. That's beyond.
Besides fighting, what are you passionate about?
Technology. I like as long as I'm always learning something, I'm pretty happy. I like programming. I like messing with Java.
If you weren't a pro fighter, what would your job be?
That's something I think about now. I think I'd be a police officer.
Why do you have snake bites?
I was a stupid kid, that's why. piercings were stupid at the time, and I'd already done that when I was 18, and I wanted to experience something else. And it's funny, like when I had my snake bites, I took them out a while ago, but before I had my snake bites, I actually had a Jacob's ladder.
Oh.
And that was by far the dumbest thing I've ever done in my life. And it only lasted about 2 weeks, so after that I was like, okay. And I think after the snake bites, I was done with piercings, and I went more to tattoos anyway, so. Do
those snake bites hurt?
No, it wasn't as bad. For me, it did kind of suck, because the first time I had got them done, the piercer had put in the wrong size barbell to my lip, so it was about a week into it when the swelling of my lip started to go down. It was actually like going into my lip. Mm-hmm. So I went to a different piercer, and they exchanged it, and everything was fine.
Tattoos. You have one sleeve, you have something on the other arm, you have something on your chest, you have some on your back. What's the meaning behind some of these tattoos, if there are any meanings behind these tattoos, and how many do you have?
Okay, so far, like you said, I have my entire left shoulder done. I have my entire right arm done. I have a memorial piece on my right side of my ribs, and then I have a Latin scripture on my back, and a Chinese symbol on my chest. My right sleeve is a tribute to the Japanese samurai, because with my fighting and everything, I've always admired what they stood for and why they actually fought, and just their entire culture. So that's why I dedicated that my arms to that piece. The left shoulder is a tribal piece, and in the middle of it is it's an Alaskan spider. I forgot the name of it. It's been a while since I've had it. But it's supposed to be like the protector, and it's hysterical because I'm actually, in real life, I'm terrified of spiders. I'll sacrifice little baby spiders to get away from them. So, and then let's see, the piece on my chest is just a dumb mistake. When I was an 18-year-old kid, I got drunk and got a Chinese symbol, and it's one of those, I wish I could go back in time, but I can't. Oh. The Latin scripture on my back is, all it says is only God can judge me. I wanted to get something a little different. That's one thing that's always meant a lot to me, because again, no other person on this world can never hold judgment against me. And then the piece on my ribs is it's Winnie the Pooh and Piglet. And there's an old saying, or not an old saying, but it's one of the sayings from one of their stories, and it's to my deceased 5-year-old niece. She had passed away a few years ago due to a tumor, and it was one of her favorite stories. I got that for her.
What's the best thing that ever happened to you?
Oh, the best thing that ever happened to me? Honestly, I think it's just waking up every day. I think that's the best thing that can happen to anybody. This life is so short-lived that you never really know when your last day is going to be. So it's just the ability to go to sleep and wake up every morning. I think it's just a reoccurrence of the best thing that can ever happen to you. What's the worst thing that ever happened to you? Oh, man, that was getting married at 23. That was the worst goddamn thing that ever happened to me. But no, thankfully that only lasted a year, so it was like a curse and a blessing all in one. What's your pet peeve? Oh man, I think when people don't know when to shut up. They keep going too far and talk about the same thing over and over. That drives me insane when I have to sit there and listen to it for 15 minutes when it really should have taken just 2. Let's say you found a magic lamp, and you rubbed that magic lamp, and a genie appeared, and the genie said he was going to grant you 3 wishes. What would those 3 wishes be? Oh, man. I think it would be financial security for the rest of my life. I think my second wish would be to never go hungry. And then the third one would be to always be happy with the family and loved ones that I have. Time period you'd like to go back and visit, and why? Oh, man. I think it would have to be the Roman gladiator days. I would like to go back and actually witness whatever happened in the Coliseum, and just seeing the difference in what we as athletes consider ourselves to be warriors to what they actually were. What's your porn star name? If you combine your childhood pet with the street you grew up on, what's your porn star name? That would have to be Rogue Hunter. Rogue Hunter. That would be my porn name, apparently. Okay, Rogue. If you were a rapper, what would your rapper name be? If you combined your favorite cartoon character with your nickname, what would your rapper name be? Stimpy Demigod.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I would be. Fantastic.
Okay. I like that. Who started calling you Demigod? Because at one point in time, your nickname was Blackout. Now you're Demigod, and I gotta admit, Demigod is a way better. It's a way better nickname than Blackout because it has a better ring to it. Daniel Demigod Madrid, Daniel Blackout Madrid. Demigod just sounds better. So who started calling you that?
It started off as a joke. I always, when we get rolling in our gym, I always say like no one can catch me. I'm invincible. I'm like a god. And I can't remember who actually said it, but one person was like, "Yeah, you wish you were a demigod," and I kind of just ran with it. But you're definitely right. It does sound better, and that's kind of why I changed it. Plus, Blackout was never a nickname that was mine. It was given to me, but it was in the wrong era of life, which I would be proud of it. It's from my younger days of drinking. I never had that on and off switch that most people do. I'd get drinking and I'd black out within the next hour. So that's where that nickname came from.
Stick with Demigod. It's got a good ring to it. I like that one. I like it.
Thank you.
Yeah. 10 of your 12 wins have come by submission, but you have a striking background. So what do you like better, winning a fight by knockout or winning a fight by submission?
Winning the fight in general. I don't care how I finish. Now, if it's by submission, fantastic. If it's by knockout, awesome. Even though I hate it when it has to go to the judges, as long as I know I did enough to make it a decisive victory, I'm happy with it. I understand. I'm not one of those fighters that's going to sit there and tell you that I can finish every fight with some spectacular finish. I'm a realist. I know that some fights are going to go to a decision. Some of my fights have gone to a decision. So it's just how it plays out. But as long as I know I did enough, that's all I care about.
Favorite band and or solo artist?
Favorite band? Gonna have to say the Beatles. The Beatles is my favorite band.
Person you look up to the most?
My mom. She's been through a lot, and it's not. We didn't have a bad bring up or anything. She struggled to get us where we're at, and it's one of those where you just look at a person and you're just like, damn, I can't do nothing but respect you. And her ability to work and then come home and be a loving mother. That's what I always admired about her.
What do you worry about? What's something that keeps you up at night?
It's OCD. Everything. No, I'm just kidding. If I'm doing the right thing with my life, I think. Because unfortunately, like MMA, and I think any fighting sport for that can be really self-centered and be just really selfish of the person who's doing it. So it's hard sometimes being away from family, friends for long amounts of time. So I think that's one thing that keeps me up is if I'm doing the right thing with my life or if I need to start reevaluating kind of thing.
Best advice you were ever given through life and best advice you were ever given through fighting, and who gave it to you?
Oh, man. I think the best advice I'd ever been given in life, I think it'd be from my godfather, my Nino. He told me one time, he said, Mijo, don't ever sweat the small things in life. If you do, you're never going to make it out of life. And I've always kept that one really close to my heart. I think the best advice I've gotten in fighting or for my fighting is never stop learning. Once you stop learning, you're a stagnant fighter, and therefore you no longer exist.
What's your hidden talent?
My hidden talent, man. I think it's the ability to cook. I think a lot of people think I can't cook, but that's my hidden talent. It's my gem right there. It's my go-to.
What's your specialty?
Shit, right now, anything healthy. I think cooking with chicken. I think anything to do with chicken, whether it's like chicken marsala or chicken tacos. I'm really versatile with chicken.
Number one thing on your bucket list?
Skydiving. I want to be thrown from a plane.
If you could change one thing about the world, what would you change and why?
I think it would be for everyone to see that all lives matter, and we're not an assortment of colors. I think if I could change out one thing, I think we'd have a different outlook on life.
Last question, Daniel. Let's say you were on death row and about to be executed. What would your last meal be? And I need an entree, a dessert, and a beverage. What would your last meal be if you were on death row?
Okay, this is going to be complicated, but I think I can do it.
Okay.
All right, so for the drink's simple. It would be a cream soda float with cookies and cream ice cream. I'm going to kind of go backwards here, but the dessert is going to be an apple pie a la mode with traditional French creme and not the actual ice cream itself. And then for my entree, it's, as funny as it's going to sound, it would be my mom's green tea casserole.
Nicely done. You handled those questions like a champ. Great job. Yep, great job. Great job. Daniel, real quick before I let you go, do you have any sponsors you'd like to thank, and is there anything you'd like to say to the fans?
I'd like to thank Endgame Kimonos for all my jiu-jitsu and all my fighting stuff. My gym, Grace Fighting Systems. I'd like to thank my Jiu-Jitsu Association, Nala BJJ, and Aries Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I'd like to thank all my family and friends for always the continued support. To the love of my life, Nora, to my boys, Leo and Jonas, I love you guys so much. And to all my fans out there getting ready to watch me again on March 5th, I promise not to let you guys down. I'm going to put on another spectacular performance, and let's stay tuned for it.
Daniel, thank you for taking the time to talk. I really appreciate it. Good luck March 5th at King of the Cage, Night of Champions against Daniel Hernandez.
Thank you, sir. I do appreciate you taking the time and allowing me to do this interview with you. And best of luck in any future endeavors you have.